What's going on, everybody? This is an episode from the No Gimmicks Needed Wrestling podcast. Do you like podcasts and you want to see the full podcast? Make sure you check out the No Gimmicks Needed Wrestling podcast on all your podcast platforms, such as Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, among many others. But you're listening to the episode right here on YouTube, so make sure you hit that like button and below, and make sure you hit the subscribe button to NC Studios and NC Level Up for all your gaming needs. This is the Nerd Coalition. Enjoy the show. Do you listen to Joe Rogan?
Depends on who's on it.
Okay, so
when Dave Chappelle on it, I tend to listen.
If Dave Chappelle, Joe Rogan has a podcast, and he had the Undertaker on the podcast.
The Undertaker.
Say what?
The Undertaker. That must be that night that I told you when it was him, Dave Chappelle, and Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
It probably was that same night.
It probably was. So he had the Undertaker on there, and they were sitting there just talking, and they talked. First of all, literally, the part that everybody is talking and complaining about, literally, is like the end of the podcast. The whole podcast is literally them talking about his injuries.
I mean, look, Joe Rogan, they kind of just sit there and talk shop for like 3 hours, sometimes be 4 hours. So.
I mean, it probably do. But see, the thing about Joe Rogan, Joe Rogan's not like let's say a big wrestling fan, and he has come off in the past of not really being a supporter of being, into wrestling like that.
I think he's not a wrestling fan, but he like appreciates, like he likes some moments. He's not like a fan, but like he seemed like I seen him like going to tell you how good Ric Flair is at cutting the promos and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, well, he's not a fan like me and you, or like a lot of people.
Well, yeah, I mean,
so because
just real quick, if I'm going to suggest a Joe Rogan episode, listen to the Jake Roberts one, because that always gets me. So I'll say the Jake Roberts episode is the one you should always
exactly. Well, no, the reason why I just brought it up because I went back to listen to a transcript of it after I heard another podcast I listened to mention this, and I was like, if he was a wrestling fan, he probably would have asked that question. Remember when Undertaker was injured back in 1999, and he was in that six-pack challenge at Unforgiven, and British Bulldog took his spot, and then he was supposed to come back at the Royal Rumble at Madison Square Garden, but he injured his pec, which delayed his return, so he came back as the American Badass at Judgment Day of May that year. The question is, if he did not mess up his pec, would he have come back as the American Badass, or would he came back as the Ministry of Darkness Undertaker?
Yeah, who knows?
I'm just saying, but what I'm saying is, him not being a wrestling fan, to not ask those kind of questions, he don't really care. I'm just trying to illustrate the non-wrestling fan.
Oh yeah, he probably just got like a couple questions on his phone.
Yeah, so. He made a couple comments about what's going on in the current prior today when they got towards the end of the episode. Joe Rogan was asking him, does he still watch the current product? So this is what I pulled up some of the highlight transcripts of what the Undertaker said. And before we get into it, we're going to, before we give our opinions, I'm going to read all transcripts. He says, it's tough right now for me to enjoy the product because the product has changed so much and it's kind of soft. I'll probably piss a lot of people off, but they need to hear it. It is what it is. And he said, the locker room has changed. He made these comments. The era of guys too, those were men. You go to a dressing room nowadays, it's a lot different. I remember walking into my first real dressing room and saw some crusty fucking men. Right? Like half of them had guns and knives in their bags, and shit got handled back then. Now you walk in, there are guys playing video games and fucking, and I'm just like, making sure they look pretty. It's evolution, I guess. I don't know what it is, but I just prefer. I don't know. I just like those eras, man. I like when men were men. Okay, I don't know what that means, but okay, but I'll wait. Those are there were a couple comments of different people talk about it what it was, but Here's my thing so far. I agree with him on certain things, and I disagree with him on other things. How do you feel?
Okay. I don't understand what's the problem.
So,
I'm just saying he asked him about the product, right?
Yeah.
But Taker started talking about stuff outside of the product. That's what I don't understand. It's like if they why does it matter if they're playing video games to you? Like, why do you care? Wow, because they not carrying around knives backstage. Like, what do you mean?
I mean, I wouldn't want to carry a knife or a gun. Period. I mean, that's what probably makes the world a better place. I'm just saying, you know.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what I'm saying? Say he carries like 15 knives in his backpack. Because I got video games in my backpack, and you got a knife in your backpack. We different.
Me personally, if I walk into an environment where people are carrying knives and guns, that's an unsafe environment.
Yeah, well, apparently that's how Taker likes it. He likes people sharpening up their knives.
So, is there? So, I mean, I understand you don't understand it. I'm saying, but do you agree with anything he said or disagree with anything he said?
He likes when men were men, which is
I don't know
a statement nowadays. Yeah, statement nowadays. I'm surprised they even let him get away with that. What are you trying to say? Yeah.
I'm about to say I don't know what that means, but okay.
I mean, I know he's from a different era, and I know that, but like, I'm pretty sure back in the day, in like say 08, people probably come with him, Taker, can you do this? Can you do that? Can you tell me this? Can you tell me that? I just feel like nowadays people aren't even like, they're probably still doing it, but they're not like as like, they're just like, hey, it's Taker again, and we're just gonna go back and play our video games. I don't know why I feel like he's calling out Xavier Woods. I don't know why I feel like that.
Yo, I felt the same way. I was just like, peep this. Okay, so here's the thing. I'll talk about what I agree with him on. Okay. This is what I agree with him on, because there's a lot I do not agree with him on. I think he was taking certain shots, and I'm just like, you might want to check yourself, bro. But right now, I agree with him about the product. The product has changed, like, because he's not gonna call out names because he's cool with Triple H. You know, so he's cool with Vince, obviously, but the product sucks, and they are,
It does.
And they are in charge of these products, and then so, right now he said the product has gone soft, and okay.
Before you get that, I just want to say, yes, it does suck. Yes. But then, him coming back isn't changing it. Him just coming back to take a paycheck isn't changing anything.
No, it don't. It don't. I mean,
so the product sucks, and instead of at least he has the power to say that it sucks, to try to change their mind. Like Stone Cold can say this product sucks and gets like, he won't get crapped on. I think Taker and a couple others, you just go to their face and say this sucks, and not get like crapped on. Like he'll still be whatever, main event, whatever. I don't know why they don't misuse it. Just use that power. It's like, you're not gonna. What's the worst you're gonna do to Undertaker?
Yeah.
Now put him in Hall of Fame this year. Put him in next year. Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's like, how do I say it? He also said in other transcripts that that him, Stone Cold, Triple H, The Rock, they left, they got old and left, which he didn't, and that they weren't able to teach the young guys how to do it. Because look, one thing I do agree with is the product has gone soft. They do care too much about being pretty than being wrestlers. Now, it's like this. My favorite wrestler is Kurt Angle. Okay? Because I like Kurt Angle's style of wrestling. And Kurt Angle was the kind of guy that he was like a legit athlete. He wrestled in that ring. All his stuff, he made it look authentic. real. And I'm saying some of the stuff hurt that he was doing, and he know how to to sell the moves. Today, guys are sitting there waiting for spots. They're fighting more to get a "This is awesome" chant than get a real competitive match going on. That's why there's the believability of it is gone, which I do agree with him on. They have gone soft. Like I tell you every time on this podcast, I hate the pile-up spot. Yep. I hate it, and because it looks stupid, and you got these guys sitting out there and they're just waiting to catch this guy falling into a pile of them. That's not what it is. And a lot of these things now, as much as it's pretty to watch, it looks. Can you honestly say that wrestling today looks more choreographed?
Well, yes, it definitely is more choreographed.
I'm not saying that's always a bad thing, but what I'm saying is
it's not. But I'm saying like some spots are definitely more planned and more like you help me do this, I help you. You know, there's more cleaner.
Yeah, I mean, and sometimes it's like I want to see wrestlers in the fight. Even with Eric Bischoff made the comment last year saying that the WWE production just looks too pretty. It has so much money in it, and like you got the HD cameras and all stuff like that. It just looks pretty. It don't have that gritty look. That's why Raw Underground didn't work either. It don't have that gritty realness to it like wrestling used to have, and everybody is doing the same move, so nothing feels special when somebody else does it. Such as when Mysterio dives, like Mysterio used to be the OG of doing all the diving over the ropes and doing all of the luchadors type stuff, and that was a cruiserweight thing. But then when you got people like QT Marshall and Damian Priest, stuff like that, do stuff like that, it takes away from the moves that they were doing. Such as you didn't see The Rock doing that. You didn't see Triple H doing that. You didn't see Hogan, Goldberg. It doesn't matter. You didn't see those guys do what the cruiserweights did. They did their own shit. Such as if The Rock, he was athletic, but it's like this. The Rock used to do the kip up. Although that was cool. Yep. Like Stone Cold was a brawler, okay? Stone Cold was a brawler who could sit there and wrestle, but that was his sweet spot. But it's like if I'm going to go against Kurt Angle, he's technical. He's like Cesaro. Like I'm going to get my good wrestling match out of Kurt Angle. But Mick Foley is a hardcore guy. He's like John Moxley, but John Moxley's a better wrestler. But I'm saying, but Mick Foley still can wrestle, but he's a hardcore guy. But then you have Vader, who's the big man. Vader is the big guy, the super heavyweight, that is just like none of your moves should hurt him. And yes, when Vader pulled out the moonsault, Vader was the only one. Him and Bam Bam Bigelow were the only big men. You can talk about No Laughing Matter with Hugh Morris if you want to, but still, it was Bam Bam Bigelow and Vader that will pull that out once in a lifetime. Because Vader used to finish everybody off with the power bomb. But if it was a big match, Vader pulled out the moonsault. And it's like, okay, so then when Vader goes up against Mick Foley, I see two different styles clash. How are they going to get out of this one? It's like when I see Triple H and Rey Mysterio go at it, it's entertaining because it's two different styles clashing. When I see, The Rock go up against the Undertaker, or when I see The Rock go up against somebody like an AJ Styles, if he ever had opportunity to do that kind of match, that's why I like big man, little man matches. Like if I would have loved to see Daniel Bryan versus Mark Henry, and I mean, we did, but I'm talking about when he had the WWE Championship. Like, yeah. So I'm saying, like, I want to see them like both. Like, I still want to see. I would love to see Mark Henry and AJ Styles. I think AJ Styles can have an excellent match with Mark Henry, type of thing like that. But now everybody does the same thing. Everybody does the same thing. So there's no difference. You've seen it already. It gets played out, and to the point where now everything is so choreographed on certain things. It takes it out of just a fight. And on top of all that shit, they do all these choreographed moves, and nobody sells shit. Mm-hmm. That I think bothers me the most. Nobody sells shit. And I remember I went to Icons of Wrestling and I see Melina there. And I said, hey, I'm a big fan of yours, Melina, not for the obvious reasons. Like, I told her that. You know what I'm saying? I said, not for the obvious reasons. But I said, one of the reasons why I'm a big fan of you is because you took the art of selling seriously. And a lot of women and a lot of people wrestling now don't take that art seriously anymore.
Wait a minute. I definitely don't think Undertaker had this thought when he said it. Do you think he meant like the actual product, not the most of the people?
Say what?
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. What I'm saying. Do you think when he said the product, do you think he just meant like the direction of like storylines and such, not the actual like prettiness of it or whatever?
I think he talked about. I think he was referring to the product as like the wrestling show, like storylines and stuff like that, and also when it comes to the wrestling, because he has mentioned before of how he's not a fan of how the wrestling is today.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I mean, it's entertaining to look at, yes, but there are things that are too much in time choreographed to the point I'm just like, yeah, it can't take out the match because you kind of seen it already, and it doesn't make anything feel special anymore. And maybe it's because those young, and he was like, you know, because now he makes it the claim that's saying that the old guys, we got old, so we wasn't there to teach the young guys. I'm like, no, y'all was there. Y'all didn't want to work with them.
Yeah, they didn't want to like help them out because they was young.
Y'all didn't want to work with the person you can name on your hand. The guys that actually went out there to work with the younger guys. And who's the first one that comes to mind?
I'll be honest with you, I can't think right now. Who he took up?
Chris Jericho.
Okay, I was gonna say Jericho. Well, you said back then. I didn't know if you meant like.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm saying.
I'm thinking Jericho though. Yeah, so we're on the same page. I'm just making sure.
No. Jericho has throughout his years worked with the younger generation and helped put them over. There was Shawn Michaels kind of did it, but not by much. Because, you know, Shawn Michaels is you know what I'm saying, he's a political guy. When I say political guy, I mean backstage in wrestling. I ain't talking about in the show. I'm talking about like he like, I liked it when he helped out Shelton Benjamin. You know what I'm saying? That, you know, help his level out, stuff like that. And worked with Lance Cade and Great Khali and all that stuff like that. But like I said, so in his later years, and yeah, I'm like, I'll give him a little bit of a profit there. Or working with Randy Orton and working with Edge. Like, he helped those back when they were younger. He worked with them younger guys. Undertaker, I will give credit to. Undertaker worked with some terrible people. Heidenreich, Vladimir Kozlov, Great Khali, Snitsky. Yeah, he did work with them terrible guys, but they were terrible. And it's not like they retired, huh?
What's the other dude named Nathan Jones? Is that him?
Oh, oh God, Nathan Jones is bad. Yeah, so I will give Undertaker props that he did work with these younger guys, but then once again, you're not leading by a good example, neither by not knowing when to retire. Because you on that Hogan level, you on that Ric Flair level right now, where you don't know. It's like this is the spotlight, and on top of that, when the last good WrestleMania match the Undertaker could do, like from bell to bell, was CM Punk.
Okay.
At WrestleMania 29, every WrestleMania match Undertaker has had since going 21-0 has not been that great. And look who he's working with. WrestleMania 30, Brock Lesnar. WrestleMania 31, it was Bray Wyatt, and Bray Wyatt don't even get to win. That's the young guy. Mm-hmm. He don't even get to win. WrestleMania 30.
At that point, some of these, I honestly, not even his fault. So you know that Vince is the one in charge. But I still think he should. I don't know. I think they should just off script and let him go take over. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
Yeah, WrestleMania 32, Shane McMahon. WrestleMania 33, Roman Reigns. And it's like, and then he just completely sucked in that Roman Reigns match, and that was how I put Roman over, but it didn't do anything for Roman. Roman has done more for himself in the past 6 months than that WrestleMania match did for him at all.
That match definitely. Nah.
And then he came back at 34 to squash who? Cena. Then he comes back at he don't come back at 35. Then he does 36 and does what? He has a great match with AJ Styles in the Boneyard match, but AJ don't win.
Yep.
So
yeah,
you're not necessarily making it.
But he want to ride off into the sunset. But he want to ride into the sunset. He always been there. I don't know. I honestly, I don't know. It's a weird situation. I think.
Yeah. But it's just I agree with some of the product being soft, and they need to bring some of that authenticness or that realism back to it. Such as, remember how you said Cody shouldn't even be having a long drawn out match with what was the guy's name?
Peter Avalon.
Exactly. Why is he doing that? That should be a squash match.
Like, I know they be wanting to show what they can do, but Cody's not the person to be showing off.
No. But I'm saying, but here's the thing: you if you want to show what that person can do in a match where they're losing, you do that on Dark, not on Dynamite. You do that on Dark.
Well, I'm saying if you're gonna do it on the main show, don't do it against
exactly
Cody, who was like the best of the groups,
but
who y'all were trying to build as the best in the company.
But look what Orange Cassidy working with Jericho did for Orange Cassidy.
And I think Jericho just gets it in general, though. Like, Jericho said at first he didn't even understand the Orange Cassidy thing, but he knew that people were into Orange Cassidy and just loved Orange Cassidy, so he wanted to work with them.
But I'm just saying, Jericho's been like that his whole career. Look, remember when Jericho...
Except for Fandango.
Except for Fandango, yeah. They didn't work with Fandango. But remember, Jericho actually was the one who made people actually think about who the hell Pineapple Pete was.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes, that was good. They should have kept that going a little bit.
Yeah, I was wondering if they would keep it going a little bit long. I don't know what happened to him now. He probably on Dark, probably. If not, I don't know.
I thought he was on. I think he went to the other side. I think.
Yeah, I don't know where he's been at, but he helped get that name over. Also, what Matt Hardy's doing with Private Party, what Sting's doing for Darby Allin, that's what you need to be doing as a legend to help these guys, learn some of that stuff. You also got to teach them how the business is. And once again, it don't help that the audience attention span is like, rapid fire. You got to keep going and going. And they don't like long storylines anymore. And they don't like the roughness anymore. But Bret Hart was like, saying the best there is, best there was, best there ever will be. And some of his matches just look brutal. It's like now when you see a ladder match, they're setting up that you're trying to outdo each other's spots. So now, every time I see a ladder match, I'm looking for the ladder bridge between the ring and the barricade, right? Because something new.
I think not every ladder match is pretty much the same.
It is pretty much the same. But remember back when they did Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon, right? Mm-hmm. That match was just good because it was brutal. First they used a real ladder, and second off, they just throwing people onto the ladder. Like, they don't even do that anymore. To me, those ladder spots look more devastating when people get thrown on the ladder or they miss and they hit the ladder, opposed to them jumping through the ladder or doing like a high five spot off the ladder.
Yeah, I'm saying, I think ever since, like, I don't know what year it was, ever since that year, it's like the ladder matches go on the same pace. So, like you said, ladder bridge, the spot where we gotta jump off we gotta be in the middle, we get like thrown off into the road, we caught ourselves and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like the same type of match every time.
Yeah, I'm like, it gets so choreographed to the point that now they're doing more dangerous shit that they gotta actually catch these people and make sure they don't kill themselves, opposed to just trying to have a brutal match. That's why I enjoyed the Sami Zayn, AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy ladder match, because it was different, and they didn't do that much, because they all old. Everybody in that joint is over 40 except for Sami Zayn. He in his 30s.
Well, we think that.
I mean, is he 40?
No, I'm just kidding. I think he is like in his 30s. I'm saying the beard say otherwise.
Oh yeah, and otherwise I'm saying, but Jeff in his mid 40s, AJ in his mid 40s, they can't be doing this that they used to do in TNA back in 2005. So, but that was a good ladder match to have with those kind of guys, and I thought that was one of the top matches of last year. So, that's one of the things that need to that I agree with him on.